From being lazy, or that's how we've perceived her for how many years now, and being a good girl, that can be good or bad depending on how you view it. Hello, Magi here, and welcome back to another episode of Touhou Meme/Fanon Origins, the series where I cover memes you may have known all this time but never knew how it came to be. So without further ado, let's begin the Touhou Meme/Fanon Origins number 15. Lazy Meiling and Sanae is a good girl. To start things off, we're going to be looking at Ginsokyo's sleepy and lazy gatekeeper, Meiling. As the gatekeeper of the Scarlet Devil Mansion, her main job is to keep intruders away. If that's the case, why have we referred to her as the lazy or sleeping gatekeeper? When in actuality, she's not that bad. We're gonna have to look at some references in canon before we can delve further into the Fanon part. The first so-called hint was back in Bohemian. A mysterious crop circle appeared in the gardens of the SDM. Meiling, who's in charge of the garden, claimed to not be the culprit. During Meiling's interview with Aya, the gatekeeper adamantly denies being asleep. Although Meiling specifically says she didn't sleep, we could also interpret it as Meiling lying. Now in Silent Sinner, there was a party at the SDM, and Meiling was doing her job standing at the gate. Inaba, of all the series, expanded on this. She was in charge of vetting the invitations and declared no one would get in without her. But the ANT crew just cruised by her while Meiling was delivering it. She did see their invitation but was blasted by all the invites from the rabbits that a bunch of people went inside, including the ANT group. This is another instance where you could view Meiling in two lights, one that she was trying to do her job right, or she was failing badly or slacking at it. And in Silent Sinner once more, Aaron infiltrated the SDM and spoke with Patchley. The librarian was curious as to what had happened to Meiling. Aaron commented she played tough, but all she needed to pass her was a light greeting. While it could be easy to make fun of Meiling of failing there, this is Aaron we're talking about, so either Aaron threatened the gatekeeper or a little force was used. Can't blame her, I don't know how I would handle it. Now I've just shown you examples of Meiling's ability as a gatekeeper in both spectrums, either trying or not doing well / being lazy. This last example, no excuses. So in Hiso Tensoku, Meiling saw a roaming giant, thinking it was the incarnation of a god of calamity, Taisu Xingjun. From the wiki, it says Taisu is a god in Chinese mythology. Never heard of this god till now, but whatever. In the end, she faces the legendary catfish. All this to find out that the entire scenario of Meiling's gameplay was a dream. Now if the whole thing wasn't trollish, then I don't know what is. This is one of the bigger examples from canon as to why Meiling is perceived lazy, slacker, and sleepy, whatever you want to label her in Fanon. This is however the only instance I can recall where we see Meiling directly sleeping or napping. It was mentioned in Perfect Memento where witnesses saw her sleeping at times. Hiso Tensoku was the first visual time we witnessed it. We were quite thorough on reviewing Meiling in canon. Now let's see her being shown in Fanon. She's commonly referred to as the lazy guardian of the SDM, though whether this stems from her actual personality or from her nickname China is unknown. Many Japanese people complain about the reliability and quality of products manufactured in China. There are many fanfics that depict an enraged Sakya behind a sleeping Meiling in front of the gates to the mansion. The implication is that she has the Chinese quality of reliable China, with much intended sarcasm. I could certainly understand the whole Chinese quality deal. So let's take a look at some pictures showcasing Meiling and a textbook example of not to follow in a guard job. When you're slacking, punishment is bound to happen. The comments made this even better. Shanghai Tea House, Chinese tea. That was bloody great. You know it's starting to get bad when people can start drawing on your face. That and you wrote a sign saying not to wake you up. Another bad call. This one is a little different as we see Meiling someone awake, drunk, but awake. As much as she's failing her job, you gotta give the so-called gatekeeper props on balancing everything. No way in hell I could attempt that. Although Sakya is ready to snap, which I don't blame her. When it's autumn, it never hurts to be really productive. And if clearing up the leaves also teaches Meiling a lesson, then why the hell not? Just sounds like a win overall for the chief maid, although the same can't be said for Meiling. Now this one, while it does look fun, it's not the safest thing in the world, implying Jenga with people on top was ever safe to begin with. So I can understand Saki wanting to harm Meiling. I say all that, but Patchouli can fly, so not the worst thing. This, ladies and gentlemen, is when you clearly do not give a fuck about your job. The equivalent will be working at a fast food restaurant with your wedding dress. You just don't fucking do that. Although, to be fair, if anyone would try that and the managers didn't force them to change, at the very least, they were doing their job. A step up compared to Meiling, I would say. Now this last meme is most certainly shorter than the last one. It doesn't have the legacy as the Meiling one, plus this one is mostly an English one, so there's that. The meme I will be talking about involves the shrine maiden, Sanae. So I did a character profile for Sanae way back and have discussed it before, but obviously not everyone has seen it. This meme is called Sanae is a good girl. You might be asking what that means. Well, it's just as the title implies. Sanae is a good girl. Let me explain. This didn't originate from canon and it's purely a Fanon thing. It came from a dojo work called Cold Wind But Warm Winter, created by Happy Flametime. Now this is a work I've talked about in my top 5 Touhou dojo works, so you might be familiar with it. For those who haven't seen it, it's pretty much a dojo work focusing on the Mountain of Faith crew. In one of the pages, the gods practically force Sanae to drink some alcohol. After that, she gets drunk and asks if she's a good girl. Kanako responds, of course, and pats her head, which Sanae falls asleep afterwards. After seeing this, the English community decided to roll with it. This could go either two ways. One, Sanae is a good girl, being a dutiful shrine maiden, whatever that entails. Or it could go the other way, a not so PG friendly matter, I would say. If you're on YouTube and search up the phrase, you'll see an assortment of videos with Sanae, all of different content. So it's certainly a thing in the West, that's for sure. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, which means we're your favorite. Do you think Meiling's a legit gatekeeper or a failure of one? Or do you believe Sanae is a good girl? If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe, or else some gods might randomly make you drunk. That can be good or bad, take your pick. Either way, this is Magi, and thanks again for watching.